So, we have the event exclusive or NYCC exclusive Broly. Is it worth picking up? Well, there's a couple things to consider. Do you already have the original release? What's your budget looking like? And do you like metallic paint? Which brings me to the aesthetic. Starting with the event exclusive first, I would have to say that the sparkly metallic green paint looks pretty freaking cool, and I wasn't expecting that. It's not too much metallic paint that is overwhelming, and it's not too little that you don't notice. And that it's in that Goldilocks zone of paint. It's easiest to see the metallic glittery effect on the armor and tights. His fur waistcoat is completely metallic, although I will say it's much harder to see that metallic glittery effect on the waistcoat. The skin tone has a matte satin finish to it. And speaking of the skin tone, there was a gentleman on the unboxing short of this figure who asked if the skin tone was darker, and I would have to say wouldn't consider it darker per se. It's a very light brown color as opposed to the original release, which had a more pinkish undertone to it, which could make it look lighter. And speaking of colors on our original release, everything except for on our original release, except for the knees, has a matte finish to it, so no glossiness. And the skin tone has lighter and darker tones, which brings out the sculpt on the muscles very nicely. As for the event exclusive version, it doesn't have that same shading to bring out the sculpt, unfortunately. Going back to the original release, the fur texturing on a waistcoat is nice, just like it is on this exclusive version, but both lack that shading which would give that fur waistcoat more depth. As for the hair color, on the event exclusive release, it has that very pale blonde aesthetic that you get from the old Dragon Ball Z era of anime. And I'll show you an example of what I mean somewhere in the video. But as for the original release has a much more saturated blonde hair color with some variations of yellow paint in there. And it looks great as well. It's all a matter of preference at this point. Also, I forgot to mention, along with that pale blonde look on the event exclusive release, you can see that metallic, as a glittery powder paint color. I don't know how to describe it. We'll just keep on calling it metallic paint like how I've been calling it. You'll see that greenish metallic paint very subtly on there, and it makes it has a nice effect. It almost in some lights makes it look like the hair is glowing. But well, even with all these things in terms of aesthetic difference, I don't think these are the biggest differences in my opinion in terms of the releases. I think that biggest differences come when it in the next segment when we talk about accessories. For the overall aesthetic, I would give the event exclusive Broly 8.5 out of 10 and the original release Broly 9 out of 10. For hand accessories, they have the same exact hand accessories, except for the fact that the skin tones are different. So we have, as you can see, on the event exclusive, fists, and on a regular release, more grabby hands. And last but not least, for the hands at least, I zoomed in a little bit so y'all can see the difference, but they come with a pair of relaxed hands. Now you have the grabby hands on the original release and the relaxed hands on the event exclusive release. That is it for the hands. Now the real difference. So I zoomed in even more for this segment because this is the biggest difference between the two. So as you can see, both have yelling faces, but in the original release, you got the Akari head. And this most recent release, the event exclusive release, you don't get an Akari head. You get a bunch of variations for the Super Saiyan head. So basically, if you tried to, for the original release, if you wanted to use the yelling face with the Super Saiyan hair, you could technically do it, but it wouldn't work out because the eyebrows and things wouldn't match because it would be black eyebrows instead of blonde eyebrows. And the same goes with the upcoming head that's coming next. So I'm gonna go through all the heads and you guys will see. So here they both have serious faces, but as you can see, the serious face for the original release has his powered down hair, his base form hair. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier, with the event exclusive, he still has the same faceplates or similar faceplates, but they're all for the Super Saiyan state. So there you go. One more for the last head. For the original release, you see the last head is the Super Saiyan head, but it has specifically the gritting teeth face. And of course, you know, it has the gritting teeth face for the event exclusive. And those are the main differences, I would say. But here's the part where we depart away from the regular release. So, something that the regular release doesn't come with at all is the powering up effect. And I have to say, it looks really nice. It looks very nice. And you could hypothetically use this powering up effect. Let me adjust it real quick. With any Broly figure, I guess. At least until, you know, they eventually release, you know, the OG from the OG Broly movies, Super Saiyan Broly. I don't mean Super Buff Broly. I mean the regular Super Saiyan Broly from the OG movies. Because I expect that to come out. And maybe I'll do a video on why I expect that to come out. Y'all can let me know if y'all want to know my reasoning for that. But this event exclusive figure comes with the aura effect. So you won't get that with the regular release. But on the other hand, you have to consider with the regular release, you get the other different head parts. So that is like one of the main differences and the main quandaries that you're going to have to figure out for yourself if you want. I mean, which one to decide to get. And there's one more thing that I'm going to discuss towards the end of the video as to what's going to be really the real toss-up for you. Because I think this will be a fairly hard decision. Okay, so overall rating for accessories for the event exclusive version, I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. For the normal version, I'm going to go 8 out of 10. So for articulation, as usual, starting with the head, you can look up that much, down a good amount. You can swivel side to side, but one note, the hair is going to get in the way if you want to do a full 360 for whatever reason, which 9 times out of 10, if you're taking pictures or you're just displaying your figure, you're not going to need him to turn his head all the way around like some damn owl. And tilt is decent, not the best. His arms, if you want to push it to the limit of bringing his arm up, you can, because his shoulder pad is articulated, so you can move the shoulder pad if you want. But it comes out pretty decently high, a lot higher than some figures that are a lot slimmer. You do get the full 360 degrees, but it's going to be at an angle. You get a cut at the top of the bicep. It doesn't swivel all the way around, but it swivels decently enough for what you really need. Double jointed elbow is fine, but because he's so damn bulky in terms of muscle, it doesn't close up as it would in a normal double joint. So maybe they could have cut some more off, but that's what you get. It's fake decent. So it's decent. Wrist hinge works perfectly fine, and of course you get a swivel. He can lean forward okay. Just know that a lot of that lean is coming from this waist joint down here. I'm going to circle it in the video. He can lean back not very much, really. You can barely tell a difference, honestly. Let me see if I can push it a little bit more. That's about as far back as he's going to lean. So I think that's really a big issue of, you know, having the Saiyan armor, but really that's as far as he's going. Side to side is all right. So in all, you know, the core articulation isn't, or the torso articulation isn't the best, but it's barely passable and understandable since he's wearing the armor. But his legs, he could split about that far apart, and that's better than a lot of Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. No shade, but mad shade, actually. Real quick, the reason why his legs can flex out that far is because this back part of his waistcoat is articulated. Now, these two side parts right here aren't articulated, but it's a very flexible plastic. So, kudos to Tamashi for doing that. You can kick forward that far, back that far. He has a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee works fine. Has a slight pull down to his legs. Very slight. It's there if you want it. Point down that far. They go up about that far. And last but not least, you get a ankle rocker. But what they really should have done with the ankle rocker, and try to follow me with this, this portion of plastic right here that I'm putting my thumb on, they should have made that a part of the shoe part, and then maybe put the ankle rocker or cut at the top of this plastic right here, and then put the ankle rocker joint up higher so you get a better range of movement, so it's not impeded by this plastic right here running into this shoe part right here. That's my suggestion. Tamashi, if y'all use that idea, or if y'all come across this video, pay me for that idea if y'all decide to implement it. And that is it for, that's not it. You get a toe joint as well. But if y'all use that idea, Tamashi, and y'all come across this video, pay me or hire me. But besides that, overall for the articulation, I would have to rate it, that core articulation is very limited, but everything else is pretty decent. And the head going back is pretty limited, but that's because of the hair, so kind of a design thing. 7.5 out of 10 for both. Both the standard release and this event exclusive release. So for this Striker Pose segment, I didn't use any reference images. Also, I don't plan to talk through these images. I'm just going to let a little bit of music play and that images slide until we get to the next segment, which is height. And y'all can let me know how y'all feel about that. But until we meet again in the height section. Peace. Super Saiyan Broly's height, he stands about 6 3/4 inches to the top of his forehead, but to the top of his hair, he's about 7 3/4 inches. And for 70 centimeters, he is about almost 17 centimeters to the top of his forehead, almost 20 centimeters to the tip of his hair. Starting off with the size comparisons, here's Gogeta, here's Super Saiyan 4 Goku, here's Return of Superman by Mafex, here's your pretty much standard 6-inch Marvel Legend Webman, here's Super Buu, and here he is next to the full power Super Saiyan Broly, which is, it's him in a more powered up state. And that will do it for size comparison. If you made it this far in the video and you're still like, yo, I don't know which one to get, I guess this is the part where I kind of tell you which one to get. Or maybe I won't. Either way, remember with the standard release, you get the powered down base hair, you get the Akari transformation hair, and you get the Super Saiyan hair. Now the only drawback I would say is that each face that each head comes with is specifically for that hair. So you can only use, like for example, this Super Saiyan head has the gritting teeth face. You can only use the gritting teeth face with that hair unless you're going to repaint the eyebrows and whatnot. For the event exclusive, you only get that hair, but all the faces go with that hair. And also, with the event exclusive, you get the aura effect. Now, as I mentioned before, you get the same hands. Now, here's the really tricky part. I'm going to put the screen record up in the corner somewhere, but last time I checked, and if I do the screen recording and it's like it says something different, you'll know. You'll just pay attention to the screen recording. But last time I checked, relatively speaking, if you're not in New York and they don't put this up on Premium Bandai, let's say after NYCC, both of these figures are pretty much the same price, which is same aftermarket price, not the same retail. Well, they are the same retail price, but the standard release is not going to be retail price because it's not. It's more rare than at this point in time. It's more rare than the event exclusive version. But if you want, let's say you watch this video and right immediately after this video, you're like, I got the money, I want to buy at least one of them. They're going to be pretty much the same price. Maybe the event exclusive might be even a bit more expensive. So there you have it. I personally prefer to have the regular color version, which is the original release. But the event color exclusive, I thought I was gonna. It was some pictures that came out prior to this video, and I was thinking like, nah, that shit looked like a knockoff. It looked kind of cheap. But having it in hand and seeing it in person, I can't lie, it looks way better in person. The pictures don't do it justice. In fact, I'm gonna try to. I haven't done the photo segment at this point. I'm recording this before the striker pose segment. But in the striker pose segment, I'm gonna try my best to get some of the glitter on the armor and things of that nature, so you can see the beauty of the figure. But I don't know if it could be captured in the photo. It's one of those things where you just gotta see it to believe it. But other than that, until next time. So funny enough, I had to do a quick cut in the video, but I gave the figures slightly different ratings in different categories, and they came out to the same rating, so 8.1 out of 10. That's the objective rating. Now, I always have a subjective rating for both of these figures. I have the event exclusive at 8.5 out of 10, and you know what? The regular release is an 8.5 out of 10 as well. Funny enough, I was gonna rate the original release higher, but I think it's the articulation that's bringing both down for me. If they could get that core articulation right, man, easy 9 out of 10. But with that being said, until next time, bombastic plastic.